Hi, everyone. This is Kristina Cooper from the Southwark Diocesan team with Liz Cochrane behind the scenes here doing all the technical stuff. We're hoping to bring out our newsletter soon, but in the meantime, we thought it would be good to bring to your attention some of the great online courses that are starting soon and which we think might be helpful for you to grow in your faith. So let's meet our special friend, Father Pat Collins from the new Springtime community in Ireland. And you might remember that Father Pat was the one who led our retreat day in the Life in the Spirit seminars at Pentecost, which was great. Last autumn, the new Springtime community, for the first time, put on a whole series of courses, online courses, and which were excellent. I and a couple of others from the team, we were on the one that was on the new Evangelisation, and I can really recommend that one. And a few other people we know did the healing course. So they were really excellent. The online whole phenomena has really opened things up, hasn't it, Father Pat? I mean, were you surprised at the response?
Very much so. I mean, there's the saying, it's an ill wind that doesn't blow some good. And from our point of view, COVID was a blessing in disguise because we had dreamt of reaching a wider audience, but we were confined, by physical circumstances in Dublin. Our catchment area was relatively small. But once Zoom was mentioned, we thought, jeepers, we could use that and bring people in from all over the country. What then transpired was lots of English people were attending the courses. And that was a delight because I think we're all together anyway in the British Isles, and certainly that the church should act together. And we got literally hundreds and hundreds of people attending our courses. Actually, our leader told us that we had nearly 2,000 people attended different things we put on Zoom.
Wow, that's brilliant.
It was amazing.
And from all kinds of different countries as well. I noticed that last year you did most of the input, but this year you've got quite a few new speakers leading the courses.
Well, I did the courses last year out of necessity, and I thought people are going to get bored if yours truly is doing a lot of the speaking. So this year I roped in people that I knew were very good and who are very competent. And we've put together now 7 different courses with different people speaking on those courses. So that's the big change for this coming year.
Yeah, I noticed, I had a look on, to see what you were offering. And I noticed that sort of last year, it was kind of healing, deliverance, evangelization, life in the spirit seminars. But this year, particularly in the autumn, it's more of a kind of formation, kind of catechetical sort of slant that you've got one on the creed, by Father Billy Swan, and then there is Catholic Apologetics with Gary Michuta. So why do you think it's important, for these courses to be done? Because I would imagine they probably are not as kind of user-friendly as, say, healing. Everyone wants to learn about healing, but the Apostles' Creed, I mean, why is that important?
It's a very good question. We felt that many Catholics are not well grounded in their faith, and we wanted people to know the basics and to know them clearly. And I thought there's no better place to start than the Apostles' Creed, and that anyone who wants to be a disciple of the Lord should really know the creed and what it implies. And then I was thinking, who could do that? And I thought of this priest who I knew from the Diocese of Ferns, who has a doctorate in theology, but who also is passionate about evangelization. He's a great fan of Bishop Barron in the United States and has a website here in Ireland promoting Bishop Barron's approach to things. And this priest also runs a program on the radio and does lots of interviews and that sort of thing. But he had written, fortuitously, a book on the Apostles' Creed. And so I asked him, would he be willing to do a course on the Apostles' Creed And he said, yes. Now, it's the kind of course I myself will attend, because I'd be very interested to hear what he has to say about the Apostles' Creed. So, and his background, by the way, is in science. He was a late vocation. He had a science degree, and I think was working for the pharmaceutical industry for a number of years, then went for the priesthood and ended up getting a doctorate in theology and working as a formator in the Irish College in Rome. So he has a very wide portfolio. But
I did kind of Google him, because one of the things is it doesn't matter how many qualifications somebody has. They might be very learned, but it's like, can you listen to them without yawning? You know, that's my big thing. So I did actually Google him, and there was a talk of his on YouTube when he was talking about faith and mental health. And the filming wasn't great, but his content was fantastic. And I thought I could listen to him, you know, even despite the way it was filmed, because it was on a Zoom thing and it was, you know, they were having problems. I think it's because he's a very holy person. So it just, you know, when you listen to him, it just, you hear it because it comes from the heart. So he's got it all. He's got the formation, so he knows his stuff, and he's got the ability to communicate it.
yes.
So I thought he would be a good person to listen to. And I saw the other one you had was Gary
Michuta.
Yeah, Michuta. It's a bit of an odd name. So, and I saw that he came from Detroit. Did you meet him when you were doing your STL in Detroit?
Yes, I, as you know, I lived in Detroit for 2 years, and I have been back many times in recent years. And Gary is a person that I got to know. He's a gentle giant. I'd say he's 6'6".
Wow.
And built to match. But he's highly intelligent. But if I were to pick out the one thing that I noticed about him, he's a great listener. He's not banging you on the head with his ideas. He will listen to what you have to say. Then quietly he will respond. And his role is to defend the reasonableness of the Christian faith. And he will deal with objections that are raised. Now, if you're going to evangelize nowadays, often we're dealing with very intelligent people who are very well educated. They've been to university, they've got degrees and all that, and they will come up with all kinds of scientific and other objections to what we evangelizers would be saying. And Gary's point is we should be able to defend what we say with reasonable arguments. So he's going to be taking on that kind of approach. And apologetics is an integral aspect of evangelization. So I knew how good he was because I was on the radio with him in the United States. And I just thought, gosh, if we could get Gary, it would be a little coup. And he agreed.
You've got him.
So I was delighted that he came on board.
Oh yeah, no. I Googled him to see what he sounded like, because I thought, is he going to be sort of, you know, kind of overpowering and obnoxious? You know, sometimes people who are into apologetics are, but he wasn't at all. In fact, in many of the cases, he was being interviewed by someone else who was a bit like that, and I was saying, "Shut up! I want to hear what he's got to say." So he was really. I agree. I'd be interested to know what he has to say, because I think he was saying in his testimony a bit that he came through philosophy. You know, so he has that sort of approach. So as you say, if we're going to evangelize, we're facing a different situation and we need to be equipped. It's no good just saying, you know, the Spirit will touch you or something. You know, we have to be prepared. So he's going to be doing it on Wednesdays, and then Father Billy Swan is doing it on Tuesdays.
That's right.
And the
7:30.
So the courses are starting next week. So in a way, people are going to have to quickly subscribe if they want to do that, to sign up. And you yourself, you're doing one on prayer. I see, prayer and holiness and the new evangelization. Once again, that would be not one that people would think of as being associated with evangelization. Why have you done that?
Well, I suppose when you think about it, to evangelize is to share the good news about Jesus and his message with other people. But what makes both to be real and alive in the human heart is that prayer connection daily with Christ and hearing what he has to say in our prayer. Because we're witnesses to the Lord. We're not just academic teachers. We're witnessing to a living, ongoing relationship. And what breathing is to the body, prayer is to that relationship. And I talk to Christ and he talks to me. And then when I'm sharing the gospel, it's coming out of that richness. Remember that you used to say about Jesus, he spoke with authority.
Yes.
Well, his authority was coming from his life of prayer.
Yeah.
And so I think prayer is the anchor that holds evangelization in place and energizes it.
Yeah.
So I'm just very interested in prayer myself and wrote a book on it a number of years ago, which I've revised since and will be coming out next year, a very long book on prayer. But I thought, why don't I teach a course on prayer and evangelization?
I know Maureen, one of our team, she's already signed up for it, and she has sent an email to our intercessors to see if they might be interested in signing up. So I can see if people are interested and want to deepen their prayer, because you look at all kinds of prayer, don't you? Sort of,
Yeah.
Not just prayer of praise, but scriptural prayer, all kinds of prayer. So that's very good. And I also see that Barbara Mason is back as well. She was like a new person, wasn't she, last year, and unknown, but people loved her. And it kind of started off with about sort of 10 people on her course and ended up with, I don't know, kind of
50 or 60.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a big hit. And what people loved about Barbara's approach, and I must say I was one of her admirers, was that she's very grounded in scripture, but she was able to relate the scriptures to the catechism of the Catholic Church in particular. So it was a lovely mixture of the scriptures and the official teachings of the church. And as you know, Kristina, there's a lot of extremism in Catholicism at the moment over piousness, over conservative, and all kinds of conspiracy theories and so on, and people quoting all kinds of dubious visionaries. Barbara doesn't refer to those kind of extremes at all. She sticks to what does the church teach, what do the scriptures teach. And she's such a good, holy person herself that comes across in a luminous way.
That's right.
So
she's very
they loved her stuff.
Yeah, she's very entertaining. She's got lots of personal stories. I think it's the same thing. It's the full package. It's like she's got the knowledge and then she's got the stories. I think it seems to me that all those people who you've got combine those things, like you yourself, that you've got stories and experiences to relate, but then it's backed up by teaching and scripture. All right, then. So thank you very much, Father Pat. That's brilliant.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so everybody, if you're thinking what to do this autumn, you know what to do. Have a look at Father Pat's website and see some of the courses that are available. There are some great ones coming up in the new year too. I see there's one particularly that struck me about forming missionary parishes with Michael Dopp, who I know is a great speaker as well. So there's good things coming up. So sign up, and thanks very much, Father Pat.
It's been a pleasure.